Making headlines. The President expresses his gratitude for the warm welcome and hospitality by the Estonian government. The President explores Estonia's renowned digital transformation journey. And the Foreign Ministry hosts an information forum aimed at showcasing investment opportunities in the Maldives.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Dham Naim. President Dr. Mohammad Moise expresses his gratitude for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to him and his delegation by the Estonian government during his official visit to Estonia. The President is currently on an official visit to Estonia at the invitation of the President of Estonia, Dr. Alar Karis.
In a social media post, President Dr. Mohammad Moise conveyed his appreciation to President Karis and the Estonian government for their kind invitation and the warm reception. The President highlighted the shared vision and priorities on digital governance, cyber resilience, climate change and education, which will guide their collective efforts towards mutual progress. During their meeting, both presidents reaffirmed their commitment to deepening bilateral relations and fostering collaborations. Discussion centered on strengthening ties and exploring opportunities in tourism, education, and climate change. President Dr. Moise also expressed interest in knowledge exchange in cybersecurity and digital innovation. He also praised Estonia's expertise in renewable energy, smart grids, and sustainable technologies as valuable models for the Maldives. He discussed avenues for cooperation to enhance environmental resilience and digital development in the Maldives. Furthermore, both presidents shared their view on international security and reaffirmed their commitment to collaborate on shared priorities in the multilateral arena. On Monday, President Dr. Moise also held meetings with senior Estonian officials including Minister of Education and Research, Kristina Kallas, and the Minister of Climate, Yoko Alender. At an official banquet hosted by President Karis in honor of President Dr. Mohammad Moise, the visiting president described his historic visit to Estonia as a symbol of shared commitment to closer cooperation. He noted that the visit marked a historic milestone, being the first time a Maldivian head of state had visited Estonia, and symbolized the shared commitment to fostering closer ties through mutual understanding and collaboration.
President Dr. Mohammad Moise explores Estonia's renowned digital transformation journey during a visit to the e-Estonia Briefing Center in Tallinn. Upon arrival at the center, President Moise was warmly welcomed by the head of e-Estonia Briefing Center and the acting head of the International Services Division and director of Estonian investment agency Enterprise Estonia. During the visit, the Maldives delegation was given a presentation on Estonia's digital transformation journey. Additionally, the President and the delegation were given a presentation on Estonia's digital society and e-governance innovations and Estonia's success in integrating digital systems such as e-residency, digital ID, e-taxation, and secure data exchange through X-Road systems. The President is currently on an official visit to Estonia at the invitation of Dr. Alar Karis, President of Estonia. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation, including representatives from the Maldivian tech community. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosts an information forum aimed at showcasing investment opportunities in the Maldives across various sectors to the visiting high-level delegation of Azerbaijan.
As a follow-up of the high-level discussions held during President Dr. Mohammad Moise's visit to Baku to attend the COP29 in November last year, a delegation from Azerbaijan is currently undertaking a visit to the Maldives. The delegation, led by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Azerbaijan, Elnur Mamadov, comprised of government officials and representatives from leading Azerbaijani companies. The forum at Kurumba, Maldives was one of the highlight events held during the delegation's ongoing visit to the Maldives from 13 to 16 January 2025 and featured thematic presentations by representatives from relevant key ministries and state-owned enterprises. The presentations were focused on sector-specific investment opportunities, especially in the fields of renewable energy and environment, housing, infrastructure and real estate, sustainable tourism, logistics, transport and aviation. The forum provided a unique platform to explore the untapped potential of economic collaboration between the Maldives and Azerbaijan and reinforce the strong ties between the two nations and set the stage for greater mutual understanding and cooperation. In his remarks, Ambassador-at-Large at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abdullah Hamid, who moderated the forum, expressed confidence that the platform would inspire new initiatives, deepen economic relationships, and foster lasting connections between the business communities of the Maldives and Azerbaijan.
The Ministry of Islamic Affairs launches an investigation into a local Umrah tour group for allegedly misusing its license to secure USD from the central bank under false pretenses.
Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed said that the ministry has flagged a case of a local Umrah tour group that has exploited its license to secure dollars from the Maldives Monetary Authority MMA under false pretenses of Umrah pilgrimage. However, the group had allegedly not arranged for any pilgrims to undertake the Umrah pilgrimage. Minister Shahim explained that ASMMA issued dollars for each airline ticket. The group, if found guilty, faces a fine of about $2,000 for forging the tickets. Some tour groups have failed to comply with relevant rules gazetted on October 9 last year regarding Umrah group arrangements. So far, 19 groups have been fined around $324 for various violations. Recently, a case emerged involving an Umrah group that neglected pilgrims under their care during the December Umrah season. Action has already been taken against the company responsible, identified as Al Hijra Travel and Tours Private Limited. 24 pilgrims under Al Hijra's care were stranded in Mecca before the government intervened to bring them home. The company is alleged to have misused funds allocated for the purchase of their return tickets, resulting in the unfortunate situation. The ministry has previously reaffirmed the government's unwavering commitment to holding companies accountable for negligence in managing Umrah pilgrimage.
Minister of Tourism Ibrahim Faisal reveals ongoing efforts to offer concessions on tax and land rent in a bid to attract investors to regions in the country with lower demand for tourism.
Speaking to PSM News, Minister Faisal said that the biggest challenge in expanding tourism to more remote areas of the country is the less favorable returns on investment. The minister noted that the rate of taxes and land rent are common to all parts of the country, regardless of demand or return on investment under the present tourism laws and regulations. He said that because of that, investors are reluctant to invest in regions with less favorable return on their investments, as it is more costly to transport tourists. According to Minister Faisal, it takes $45 million on average to develop a resort with a relatively short return on investment in 7 to 8 years in the more lucrative parts of the country. However, in more remote areas, the return on investment period is much longer. Minister Faisal explained that the most important step to take tourism to the remote regions is to establish better connectivity across the country and to offer concessions on land rent and taxes from such areas. He revealed that efforts are underway to amend the relevant tourism laws and regulations to offer such concessions to potential investors. The minister also bemoaned the lack of effort by successive governments to expand tourism to furthest corners of the island nation, especially the north and south, which currently have few tourism facilities. In addition to the concessions to investors, the minister said that the government is planning to connect these areas with international flights, on top of seeking investors through the various investment forums hosted by the government.
Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, says that instead of conducting a further evaluation of the applicants under the Gather Veria scheme, information of the current list will be verified before finalizing recipients.
The former administration, led by the Maldivian Democratic Party (MDP), initiated the development of 4,000 flats in Hulumale under the Gather Veria scheme. However, the project remained incomplete at the end of the term. Ahead of the conclusion of then-President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih's term, the government released a final list of flat recipients. However, After a case was filed regarding the list, the Anti-Corruption Commission (ACC) revealed that only 20% of the listed recipients met eligibility criteria. The discovery by the ACC had forced the current administration to conduct a thorough review of the recipients list. Minister Dr. Muttalib said that if the current government does an evaluation of all the applicants under the scheme, it would further delay the awarding of the flats. He added that the ministry decided to evaluate and verify the recipients on the list gazetted on 15 November 2023. According to the minister, this verification process will determine if the recipients on the list meet all the criteria of the Gadoruedia scheme, which was gazetted on 26 June 2022. The minister said that documents submitted by applicants to prove that they have been living in the capital, Male, for 15 years will also be verified. However, Minister Dr. Muttalib noted that despite the criteria stipulating that only 6 types of documents will be deemed as proof, some applicants had submitted documents outside the criteria to prove residency. In addition, the ministry would also verify if such applicants had, at any given time, not lived in Male for more than a 12-month period. This administration, since assuming office in November 2023, had put in every effort to finalize the list and award the flat to recipients. However, Minister Dr. Muttalib has apologized for the delay in concluding the verification process.
Amid increasing public demand for lower salaries for parliamentarians, ruling party lawmaker Ibrahim Shujao has calls to widen the net to lower the allowances being paid to former presidents, parliamentarians and judges. Speaking on a program on Divihi Rajyage Adu, parliamentarian Shujao insisted that he was in favor of a pay cut for salaries and allowances for sitting lawmakers. He explained that such a move should not be limited to the legislature and must be widened to include the executive and judiciary. Shujao pointed out that there are clear conditions under which former head of state of other countries receive allowances and benefits from the state, noting that lack of such conditions in the Maldives. He said that enforcing a pay cut just for parliamentarians was incourageous. Shujao stressed that the financial burden on the country can only be alleviated if it can find a collective solution that includes all 3 powers of the state. Maldives Meteorological Service Met Office warns that large parts of the country will experience heavy rainfall amid a fresh bad weather spell. Maldives has been experiencing bad weather since the weekend, though the skies cleared briefly on Sunday before the rain hits on Monday. Male has been bracing for heavy rains with a special operation underway to combat possible flooding. Maldives National Defence Force MNDF, Maldives Police Service MPS, along with the Male City Council, have set up over 3,500 sandbags in dozens of homes and buildings to prevent flood damage. The Met Office has issued warnings of rough seas and tidal surges accompanying the severe weather conditions. The Met Office has urged authorities and citizens to take the necessary precautions to ensure the safety and security of both individuals and property. The Met Office said large parts of the country are expected to experience heavy rains, strong winds and rough seas until Saturday. In response to escalating concerns regarding fraudulent membership registrations by political parties, member of the Elections Commission of Maldives ECM, Hassan Zakaria, asserts that the issue could be resolved through a comprehensive overhaul of the membership registration process. Zakaria's comments were made during an interview with PSM News, following widespread public outrage over increasing allegations of fraudulent membership registrations.
The allegations, primarily circulated on social media, accuse political parties of using forged signatures, altered photographs and falsified information to inflate their membership numbers. Zakaria revealed that the ECM has received numerous reports of fraudulent membership registrations over the past 15 years. He noted that political parties often intensify their membership drives at the end of each year, posing significant challenges for the ECM in verifying the authenticity of the submitted forms. He added that these issues have been acknowledged by all registered political parties in the country. To address these challenges, Zakaria highlighted the need for a permanent solution through the utilization of the EFA service and the transition to an online registration process. Zakaria also revealed that the ECM has been requesting budget allocations to establish fingerprint verification mechanisms for many years, but these requests have yet to be fulfilled. He highlighted that all services provided by the ECM, except for political party membership registration, can now be accessed through verified EFAS accounts. He assured that the ECM aims to integrate this service into its online portal by the end of its first quarter of 2025.
The Financial Times reported that the European Commission is re-evaluating its probes into tech giants including Apple, Meta and Alphabet's Google. The tech giants have urged US President-elect Donald Trump to challenge European Union's regulatory scrutiny against them.
The implication of Trump's presidency were a factor in the review. The review could lead to Brussels reducing or changing the range of the probes and will cover all cases launched since March 2024 under the European Union's Landmark Digital Market Act (DMA). The DMA is one of the most stringent regulations targeting tech giants' market dominance, dictating what the world's largest tech platforms can and cannot do, and it can also impose fines of up to 10% of a company's annual revenue. The report said that all decisions and potential fines will be paused while the review is completed, but technical works on the cases will continue. It also indicated that regulators are now waiting for political direction to take final decisions on the Google, Apple and Meta cases. Apple, Meta, Google and the European Commission did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The DMA took effect in 2022, aiming to curb the power of big tech and ensuring a level playing field for smaller rivals. Last week, Meta scrapped its US fact-checking program in one of the biggest overhauls of its approach to managing political content on its services. This comes as CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been signaling a desire to mend fences with the incoming Trump administration. The EU is mulling an expansion into its investigations into whether Trump's close ally Elon Musk's social media network X breached its content moderation rules.
Palestinians mourned their loved ones killed in an Israeli airstrike on a home east of Khan Yunis on Tuesday.
According to Gaza's health ministry, at least 9 Palestinians were killed in an airstrike early today, including women and children. Negotiators will meet in Doha to finalize details of a plan to end the war in Gaza, which has upended the Middle East after US President Joe Biden indicated a ceasefire and hostage release deal was imminent. An official who briefed on the negotiations said that mediators gave Israel and Hamas a final draft of an agreement on Monday after a midnight breakthrough in talks attended by envoys of both Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. If successful, the phased ceasefire could cap over a year of start and stop talks and lead to the biggest release of Israeli hostages since the early days of the conflict, when about half of the captives in Gaza were released in exchange for 240 Palestinians jailed in Israel. Palestinian health officials reported that since October 7th, more than 46,000 people have been killed in Gaza, with much of its population displaced.
South Korea's Constitutional Court adjourned the opening session of the impeachment trial of suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol within minutes on Tuesday after the embattled leader did not attend court.
A lawyer advising South Korea's President Yoon had said that the president, who has been holed up in his hillside villa in Seoul for weeks, would not attend, saying a bid by authorities to detain him prevented Yoon from expressing his position at the trial. Acting Chief Justice said that the next trial session is scheduled for Thursday, and if President Yoon also does not attend, the trial proceedings will go ahead with his legal team representing him. Outside the court, one of Yoon's lawyers said that the president would decide whether to go to the court in person on Thursday after discussions on his defense strategy. The Constitutional Court must decide within 180 days whether to remove Yoon from office or restore his presidential powers. Yoon also faces a criminal investigation for alleged insurrection, with authorities seeking to execute an arrest warrant after he ignored summons to appear for questioning. South Korea's President Yoon's declaration of martial law on December 3rd, that was withdrawn after about 6 hours, has plunged one of Asia's most vibrant democracies into a period of unprecedented political turbulence. Yoon's chief of staff said on Tuesday that Yoon's office can consult with investigating authorities in order to avoid a clash during the execution of the arrest warrant against him. Presidential Chief of Staff said in a statement that Yoon could go to a third location outside of his fortified residence, or a visit to his home could be arranged so that investigating authorities could question Yoon. Investigating authorities, including the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials, CIO, and the police, have received a reissued arrest warrant from a South Korean court after their first attempt to detain Yoon for questioning failed after a standoff with presidential security officers earlier this month. CIO, the police, and presidential security services met on Tuesday to discuss the execution of the latest arrest warrant. At the meeting, police and CIO asked the PSS for cooperation in executing the warrant peacefully and safely and were awaiting a response. The Defense Ministry said on Tuesday that military forces in charge of presidential security would not be mobilized in relation to Yoon's warrant execution.
France's Charlie Darlin completes the Vendée Globe around the world sailing race in a record time when he crossed the finish line in under 65 days.
Darlin completed the Vendée Globe around the world sailing race in under 65 days, but it was a journey 4 years in the making after he came agonizingly close to the victory in 2021. It marks the second time Darlin has crossed the finish line first. He was denied victory in the 2020 to 2021 edition after losing out to Yannick Besteven, who received a time compensation for diverting to assist another competitor. This time, however, Darlin was in a league of his own after the Marquis Saint-Prévoyance, skippered by the Frenchman, took the lead on December 30th as they navigated their way north in the Atlantic Ocean. As the sun rose, Darlin crossed the line at the Les Sables d'Olonne with his arms raised with a time of 64 days, 19 hours, 22 minutes and 49 seconds to smash the record by over 9 days. On the home stretch, the 40-year-old Darlin even sailed a few miles offshore of his hometown in waters he was well familiar with, having trained there for years.
Australian scientists have newly classified a bigger species of the Sydney funnel web spider, one of the world's deadliest, saying the new species could inject more venom, in research released on Monday.
The new funnel web species has earned the nickname of Big Boy and was first discovered in the early 2000s near Newcastle, 170 kilometers, about 105 miles north of Sydney, by Ken Christensen, a spider enthusiast and former head of spiders at the Australian Reptile Park.
The funnel web antivenom will work across the board. The one that the Australian Reptile Park makes from the Sydney funnel web works across all species of funnel web, so there's nothing to worry about there. This particular spider is a lot larger, its venom glands are a lot larger, and its fangs are a lot longer, so there is the possibility for possibly a deeper penetration through gloves possibly, and also the venom glands are larger, so there's a chance there might be more venom injected.
Scientists from the Australian Museum, Flinders University and Germany's Leibniz Institute said that Big Boy would be classified as a separate species of funnel web spiders. Scientists have named the 9 centimeters, around 3.54 inches long species as Atrax christenseni after Christensen's contributions to the research. The more common Sydney funnel webs can grow up to 5 centimeters. The nocturnal black arachnids are usually spotted within around 150 kilometers, about 93 miles of Sydney, Australia's largest city, and is mostly active between November and April. Only the male Sydney funnel web is responsible for human deaths. According to the Australian Museum, A total of 13 deaths have been recorded, though no human fatalities have occurred since the development of antivenom in the 1980s.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.
حقوقنا ليست للبيع.
And the resumption of commercial activity.
هفتار نمیگن دایر دنیای که نشته هود ایتا کامن گاگنده.
تنتا حدا کرم اکی فهارو اکی گوتا کیتان اڑتن نمیگیتو.
ದುನಿಯಾಗೆ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿಗ ಬೊಡೆತಿ ಎತ ನಿಮ್ಮುಂತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ
लुबनान बॉर्डर गातुगा यहूदीन गाम को फवा तफात की आबादी तक मीहू हुस्कुरंजे फवानी
तहुजीबा मुंगना दुनियेगा मी मालूमाता इंगु मुहिम्मु ಹಫ್ತಾಗೆ ದುನಿಯೆ ಹೊಣಿಹಿರು ದುವಹುಗೆರೆ 22 ಕಡಿ ಸುಮ್ಮಿನೆಟುಗ PSM ನ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್
ರಾಜ್ಯಗ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಆಮು ಬಲಿತಕಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಬ ಬಲಿ ಜೈಫೋರಿಕನ್ ದೆನಗಣ್ಣಾಣಿ ಕೀನೆ ಬಲಿಗೆ ಅಲಾಮೆಟ್ಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಬ